jump right into some updates. We've been making good progress on our services roadmap, and our engineering team has been able to also fix some of the issues that we've had recently with the Amazon sync. So that's very nice. It's possible we are looking into another issue, but big stuff getting deployed. Matthew, I know you have a few things, so I want to make sure I give you some time. And Daniel, that you have a few things as well.
Yeah, I can present a little bit. Just give me 1 sec, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you everyone for joining. Appreciate your time here. So one of the things that we're working on is how the data about your inventory is stored. So currently you create product types and then you have to import categories and products and all that. And then it has your own database, which stores all the information for every product, specifically for your store. So there's tons of copies of everything across our network and all the clients and our search system and all that. So part of the change that we're going to be doing is that instead of importing things and then having your own database and all that has actually all the data for every product, instead what you're going to do is you're going to have access to the entire global catalog of products. And then you'll essentially be associating your inventory to these things by turning them on and off. So you won't be importing it and having all that data there. There'll be an association in a database that's saying yes, you have this many of this product, etc. So basically then we'll only have one copy of each catalog product and then just the associations to all of your inventory. And there's a bunch of benefits to this. Primarily, it's that it's going to increase the system and search performance dramatically for the user, for you guys in the admin, as well as for the customer-facing website. So we've already designed a bunch of the user experience for some of these changes, and a lot of it's already in development. The past few days, I've worked on some of the updates to some of the previous prototypes of that stuff. Specifically on the inventory products, inventory product types page. And I should note that we're starting with mobile design because we want to be sure that our, next level, our platform is much more compatible with mobile devices and things. So I made a quick demo video that I can show you. It shows some of these features and some of the updates that I've worked on over the past few days since our last Wednesday meeting. But just note that this is to be sent to our engineers. So it's not really, it's not presenting it to you. It's kind of talking to the engineers about some of the changes. But I definitely think it's just a good video to show because you'll see the interface and then you'll start to understand some of the, kind of where we're going with it. And you'll see the cool new mobile layout and stuff. And then we'll work on the, desktop versions as well. So I will go ahead and pop that video up here. 1 sec. Let me share my... Dan, do you have screen share enabled? I think you do. Okay, cool. Excellent. Sharing. Oh, whoops. Hang on. 1 second here. I think I need to stop that for a sec and do... Where is it? Share. And computer sound. There we go. All right, I'm going to play this video. Just if you want to note any questions or whatever in the chat, or if you want to just write it down, and then at the end of the video, we can talk about any questions that you have. Hey, Matthew here from the design department. Just going to show you. Let me pause it. Can you guys hear that? The video?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. some updates that we've done to the inventory product types mobile interface. Just to clarify, I did a video previously for inventory product types which showed this interface, and most of the stuff that you saw in there is pretty much the same. There's just a few things that I added, a little bit more detail and a couple new features and stuff, but the primary UX of opting in and out of product types and things like that has not changed. The first thing that you'll notice has changed is that I changed the words here that said product types to just say types, because number one, that saves space, and number two, it's clear that you're on the product types page just from up here and the fact that you navigated to it. So these are the types right here. And then I added a sort by drop down menu, which has different options. So like name, which is alphabetical, date added, chronological, value of your in-stock items, and size, which is the number of products in stock within that product type. And then along with that sorting menu, when you choose one of those options, you have this directional arrow. So if I were to click this arrow, it would flip this so that it would have an arrow pointing up, and then the results would switch. So accordingly, if you have name selected, it would go from A to Z, and then if I click that arrow, it would go from Z to A, and then date added chronological, it would be like newest to oldest, and then if I click the arrow, it would be oldest to newest, and so forth. There's just a small change to the product types drop down here that allows you to filter down to like all product types, active product types, etc. The change is just that I added in parentheses the number of product types that fall into each of those filters. Now let's take a look at some updates to a details page for a product type. If I just click this and navigate over, you'll see that this interface has a lot more information and different options here. Previously, it just had the product type details, which this stuff right here is just a placeholder for the stuff that we currently have in our product type. So, you know, the weight and variance and descriptors, that stuff already exists. And again, this is just placeholder to save time, so I don't have to actually map all those out. But later I can do a mock-up for that. This is an initial design for those details of the product type. We may change some stuff, but these are features that we do want. So this is a pretty good starting point. You have a logo which represents the product type, which we can provide those graphics in the future as we get to that. There's also an industry stats, which I'll show you in a minute. And then your total stock, you know, the value of it for the product type that you're viewing, as well as the number of products that you have in stock, not the number of products that exist in the product type, but the number of products that you have in stock. And then you can jump to view those products, which I'll talk about as well in a bit. Also over here, you'll see something that says unconfirmed with a value and a number of products. And that is something that we will be mocking up and providing more detail on, and I'll be explaining it in more detail in the future. But a quick summary of what that means is that the unconfirmed products are products that you have purchased. So let's say you're a fan and you've bought some products from clients that are on the Crystalcommerce platform. It will associate those products that you've purchased, you know, with your email or your account or whatever, so that when you're in your admin, you see the products that you've purchased. So it's kind of what we call a purchase history. So when you click review, that would take you to an interface where you actually get to go through the products that you purchased, and then you can add them to your collection or your inventory or whatever you want to call it. So again, there will be more detail and demos for that stuff once I design it in the future. There's also a collection stats feature, which will have a bunch of different data points and visualizations and so forth. In this case, the first example is the percentage of your total collection that this product type represents. And that could potentially be the number of products compared to other products throughout your collection, or it could be the value or something like that. And maybe even the number of products versus the value could be an option later where the user could change it to whatever they prefer. But the point is, it just gives you an overview of what the product type represents in your collection. And then you can click anywhere right here and it will take you to another screen, which again, I will show you that in a minute as well. All right, let's take a quick peek at some of these other options that go deeper into the user experience. Please note that these are going to be placeholder screens that don't have the final things in it, we need to still spec out the details and have a final design for those experiences. But we'll just take a look. The good news is that since you'll know that these screens are going to exist, you'll be able to kind of start developing those, and then they'll be ready for us to drop in the stuff once we spec it out. First, let's go to industry stats. So that takes you in deeper, and then you have statistics for this product type. So it would be for magic singles or whatever the product type is. And we don't really know what those statistics will be, but it will pretty much be anything that we can possibly get from the data that we already have on our platform, as well as things that we could get in the future. So it might be things like how the product type is performing across the network, and where that product type ranks in comparison to other product types, and lots of other information. Let's jump back, and then we'll take a look at the collection stats. So this would be for the user specifically, so the retailer or the fan or whoever. So for the product type that we're viewing, it would again have the total percent of your collection, and it might have some kind of collection rank and a leaderboard and stuff, which we don't really have clarity on that, but it's something that we had an idea for. So, and then there will be lots of other stats as well for that. So this view products right here under the total stock and number of products that you have in stock in this product type, if you click that, it would take you to the inventory products area with a search active that would show you the results immediately of the products that are in that product type. So if I was in Magic Singles product type and I click View Products, it would go to the Inventory Products page, and it would automatically search for all the products that I have within that product type, and then it would just show those on the search results. Let's take a look at what happens if you want to remove a product type from your product types area. So you would go over here. If you scroll down to the bottom, you've got your delete, and then you can enter your password to confirm that and then permanently delete it. And then it tells you it deleted that, and then you have the ability now to add it back. Note that all of the stats and the other information from your collection is no longer shown, and it only has the product type logo and stats, things that would be available, regardless of whether you have that in your inventory or not. So if we jump back to the product types list, you'll note that that one is now inactive. It's grayed out right here on the indicator dot. Let's go ahead and go back and then add it back. So now I'm going to click add in a second here, and you'll see that it'll give a notice up here that it added it, and then that notice will fade out after a second or two. So it says activated. You can see that whenever you add a product type, it's going to start out with no collection information. So your collection stats and the value of your stock and all that is obviously at 0 because you've just added this product type. So that pretty much covers the updates to the product types inventory area. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Hey, Matthew here. All right, so that should give you a pretty good idea of the mobile interface and kind of what we're going for. And as you kind of probably could have guessed based on what I was talking about, these green and gray dots are kind of an indicator of just whether you have that thing turned on or off. So again, you don't have to create product types. You just turn them on or off. And then that same thing will go for categories and products and all that stuff. And I'm working on those things right now, the categories page and stuff. So yeah, there'll be more things to show, but I think that gives you a pretty good idea. So that's pretty much it for me. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions or anything like that or comments.
Yeah, I had a couple of comments.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely think that we have good data graphs and such that can drop into those different experiences that you showed. So that'll be something that I can provide you. And we've been talking to a lot of different stakeholders in our industry, right? And what data would they find compelling and interesting? The concept of a collection, it's important that as we build things that are sort of member agnostic, because we have a lot of different types of members that use our tools for sort of different business objectives. as well as personal objectives, that you may have many collections. You have a collection of this and a collection of that. One of them you might be doing professionally, and maybe you've turned it, you've done it so professionally that you now have a physical retail store and a brand, and you've hired employees and you've incorporated, you're a full business. Or you might be on the spectrum, so to speak, for a variety of different product types. So that's what we're trying to make easier, is the onboarding and launch sequence of getting your business off the ground with us initially for whatever you're a professional at, and then also making it easy to branch out into other things quickly, or spin things down if a certain industry is not working well, or it just doesn't generate enough revenue for profitability for how much trouble it is. We have a lot of members who need to diversify drastically because they have a pretty risky risk on type of business, but probably a little more risky than many of them are sometimes aware. So I see a lot of advantages in surfacing more data so that we can all make educated and informed business choices. So do we have anybody that can go through the new Ally Network agreement? It's almost actually done in production, but
that I cannot personally. Haven't been involved in any of the newer stuff for that. I'm not sure if engineering has done something on that.
they have, but I don't know that Jesse has ever seen it. In any event, yeah, we've got another number of different kind of business logic sequences that have a visualization component that helps you make a more informed choice. It's really easy to make a lot of choices quicker if you feel like you have all the data you need. Then you're like, yes, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 yes. And I think that's part of the core goal we have with data point of actions per minute. Because if we can make you way more productive, you're like, oh my God, you can't believe how productive I was today, just by interacting with the systems. That would be a good user story outcome that we're aiming for. So anyway, nice job, Matt. Looking fantastic.
Thank you.
And then, yeah, as we discover new things that would be helpful, that's the kind of additive process that we work in. And there's a lot of ways that we can grab that feedback, which is why this meeting is now on the schedule. So we can get feedback, and then we can always follow up and chat afterwards. Yeah. Okay, so let's turn the floor over to Mr. Daniel Patton.
Okay. Hi. So first time at one of these meetings. Thanks to everybody for dropping in over here. And let's see, where's the screen share? Get this started. I don't have. That's not the right screen. 1, 2.
Hey, Daniel, don't talk about what you don't have. Let's talk about all the things we do have.
But I'm trying to. Let's see.
Oh, what am I missing?
So, sorry, I've never actually Zoom screen shared before. I'm trying to get screen 2 to register. Is it keystroke? What is this?
Well, when you click share screen, it should show you all your available monitors. And then you're just clicking the monitor that has the screen that you want to share.
Okay, let's see if that works.
Oh, I think it did.
Yep, that works. I see it.
Okay, so forgive the nature of this. This is just to give you guys a heads up that the visual process of the actual pricing tool has been in process. Most of it was actually in the project lineup, which is over here. All the rules and requirements that we're going through and then recording as we do our support chats, and I bother people in support, or I get pulled into a chat regarding a bug fix that actually correlates to something that we can integrate into the pricing tool process. So we have all these requirements that are going over things such as the minimum market price matching, minimum price, sales channel specific. That way we can isolate sales channels and have those prices work independently of your core business pricing for your local store or for your online shop. So yeah, as far as visualization, we've got the initial homepage process right here. Let me give you 100%. And this is kind of a glimpse into the tools that we're using to get these visuals out to you. So inventory section, automation subsection, the naming isn't firm, but you all know it basically as pricing tool. So this is the start of the homepage. Very simple, straightforward, new function creation, and all the way through tooltips to describe the areas that we're going through. And here's a glimpse of some of the user stories that I'm going to be fleshing out and then giving you an actual video demonstration on in the future, such as only TCG Player, only eBay. This way you can, govern those prices specific to those channels, again, without messing up your actual in-store things. So it goes beyond the simple multiplier modifier effects. So you won't have to worry about changing a sale price on your store page and then ultimately accidentally bumping that price down on a third-party channel. That doesn't happen anymore with this, assuming this all goes through the way it's being planned out. So yeah, going through the initial homepage features, tooltips, products tabs, you can get a visual glimpse. Like there's going to be divisions for each of these functions that you create. So up here you saw inventory page. After a function is created, you have the ability to filter through or type for an actual search, and you title these all yourself because they're all unique to whatever is your business needs requiring pricing automation. So this first story that I'm going to be going through, which is not ready yet, but is going to be the first one that I actually complete, is going to be the TCG Player only version of the singles price modifier, which is, like I said, about the multiplier modifier, the step beyond that. You're going to define the product groups, which is the first tab here. Second tab, related to the function that you're going to title, is going to be where you apply all the automation rules and settings, things that tell the product to either hide or change pricing relative to a specific market price you want to sample, et cetera, et cetera. And those are all going to get visualizations, but we've got them all recorded and documented over here in the actual pricing tool requirements fields. So if I click into sales channel specific, you can see some notes regarding the sales channels we have, about side notes regarding modifications and how those things have to work and what they have to consider regarding your actual store page. We're even thinking of things regarding outliers and fixed pricing, so stuff that, when you're going through eBay or Amazon or TCG Player, for instance, and they're padding the prices for the shipping fees, et cetera, we're taking all of that into consideration to try to afford a way to keep this automation as accurate as possible and as powerful as possible, so you don't have to spend as much time on dealing with all of these randomness of data that doesn't actually apply to real market pricing. And so, yeah, this is just kind of an initial splash to show you that things are in progress, things are accounted for, and I hope to have more stories, actual real stories and actual videos of this process out for you sooner than later. And I think that's it regarding pricing tool at this point. Things are going forward, and yeah, as always, we're collecting data as we go. Anything that you want to mention, feel free to. Now, how do I stop the screen share? There we go. As an amount set for okay, that's all that I want. Is this microphone on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so that's it for me. If somebody else wants to pick up, or are there any questions? Let's see what the chat's saying. I see minimum price lock. Yeah, so there is minimum price settings. Those are in the requirements section that I have over in the actual products. So there is added price rounding, price match, minimum price. So yeah, that was a consideration, and we went into detail on that in support channels. That's the thing that actually does pop up, and we are considering. So it's been pretty well documented. Let's see. As in an amount set for an item price, no matter what happens, the sale price cannot go below. Yeah, and these will all be sales channel specific too. So if you do want to set minimum pricings for only TCG TCG player, you can do that too without affecting your actual in-store. So you can say bulk rare has to be $1 on TCG player, but you can charge 5 cents, 15 cents for that same bulk rare on your store site without affecting the TCG player profitability of selling it through that channel. Let's see, how to separate. Is it global? It's only as global as you want it to be. Again, per sales channel. Yeah, okay. It's a per sales channel. So I hope I answered that question. And then that's only one facet of what we're considering for all the rule sets and whatnot. We've got things in there that are supposed to replace macros and whatnot that some clients are actually working on. ETA. Well, I'm not sure. That's not really, I'm not sure exactly. As far as visualizations, I can guesstimate maybe a story. The story that I'm working on for the singles could be done relatively soon, maybe in a week. But the actual full system is going to have to be worked on with engineering's help, obviously. And I don't know what engineering's timeline would be for working on these things. We're doing a lot of stuff at the same time.
We are. I can comment on that a little. If it sounds like what you just said is that this primary user story would be ready for handoff in a week, then I have parallel resources that are ready for another service. We're doing the communication service and the pricing service are both on deck. So we're actually waiting for that handoff. If this is one of those like multi-stage relay races, like we're standing by.
Right. Okay. So and as I create the stories, I'll be able to hand them off. So the first story that I was making was just for the TCG player aspect of it. But if that's the case, I might just do that one first and then move over to one of the larger projects, which is the buyout defense mechanism, which prevents people from buying you out for an underpriced price. So it's responsive and reactive based on demand. And that one's a lot more complicated, so maybe I'll pursue that one next, or maybe I'll tackle something a little bit in between. But if it's on a handoff basis and we can actually launch these things with an initial page and then build on it as we go, then I guess I could defer to whatever the demand is for whichever requirements we want to chase down first, and then proceed in that order.
Yeah, it is iterative, like you're saying. And so we would like to get started on what you have ready as soon as possible.
Cool. Yeah, and that's it for me for this initial splash of the pricing tool.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Looking good. All right, David. Give you a little time.
Yeah. I actually was not aware that I was supposed to present anything today.
No, you're not presenting anything out of the usual. What we're showing is what's going on with some of the new front-end website designs and such that you've done recently.
Oh, okay.
And then also any of the, I know, because one of our big initiatives is more orders per day, right? We obviously want the unit economics of the order to be profitable to our members' businesses. But also we're looking for increasing the volume of sales that we get each day and to get more eyeballs on our members' landing pages and inventory. So we're working on all kinds of things that help with that and being always in stock. And that's really powerful. The Ally Network is a next step. Definitely, we're showing basically we would be basically showing version 2 without showing version 1. So version 1, we have deployed in the admin and is in beta testing right now. I know Jesse can probably show us a little bit of what he's been working on that side, and then we could finish with showing some of the exchange theme that we've created. I thought that would be a good place to go.
Yeah. I'll need like a few minutes to set up, but I'm definitely more than happy to show off a few things I've been working on.
Sounds cool. All right, Jesse, do you have something that you might want to give you the floor a little bit and talk about some of the things that you've been working on?
Yeah. Would you be able to share your screen to show the product finder features? I'm not able to share my screen. I have that limitation.
Yeah, just a second.
But maybe we could just go into like the staging environment, and we could show the product finder. Are the members like familiar with our product finder?
Some of them are. Most of them aren't.
Okay.
It just depends on how much spelunking they do in their settings in the admin, which many of them are in there very frequently. So if you're in account under store, under preferences, so account preferences, and then the very first option is store, you'll see some tabs. One of them is called Product Finder, and it has 4 checkboxes. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden, and maybe not completely straightforward what all these mean, but so there's ones that's enable product finder only for out of stock products. So that's like if you're out of stock, you'll show, yeah, right there. Then you'll refer that product to other stores. If you do force product finder for all products, and these toggle, you can't select both of these. Force product finder for all products, then any product will give you a referral to other stores. Only shows CC 5% referral stores in product finder. So this is opting in if you're the referring store. And basically what you're saying is, I'm only going to give a referral if someone's going to pay me that 5% fee. If you don't have that selected, then you will, and so this, these two bottom options go hand in hand. So for that third option, the corresponding or complementary option for the referred store is opt in this store to CC Product Finder 5% referrals program. That means, okay, I'll receive referrals, and I'm willing to pay the 5% if I receive a referral. And so if you have that selected, you will show up in the results for the stores that have the third option selected. Am I explaining this well? Is that kind of clear?
Yeah, that's pretty clear. I will add to that the addition of someone who may not have any inventory at all, but has 100,000 people on YouTube that are watching everything that they post about any type of product line, and they wish they had a way to earn 5% every time they refer to sale into our store network, and they could just kind of rain down referred sales from any content that they make. So any store that wanted to participate in receiving a referred visitor making a purchase for just 5% on top of the 2.5% that Crystalcommerce normally charges for online referred sales. So this is the referrer is earning 5%, and the store, this is the controls where you can effectively say, I'm actually going to want Product Finder on all my products. This is saying I want Product Finder on none of my products. And this is saying I want Product Finder only on things that I don't have in stock. So if someone visits my site, I have everything, but if I actually have it and I can ship it, then I want to just show that I have the inventory. But if I'm out of stock, I just basically never want to show out of stock to my clients ever, or customers that visit my site ever. That's the goal there, is that we never have a landing page that leaves with a negative outcome and then pushes people to go visit Amazon. It's like, why not make landing pages that always convert the sale where you earn a percentage of the entire shopping cart that's referred. And if you're a store, you may choose to do that or not. I know with some of the new Ally Network agreement stuff, we can even private label the inventory that's being made available. We just don't want any fans or players or collectors that visit landing pages ever seeing out of stock. It's just, if they're looking for it, at the very least, if it's out of stock and nobody has it, they can add it to a wish list. And maybe that's something that we could publicize, is like the build awareness for people looking. Like, there's a lot of unsatisfied demand. I know when I look inside our members' databases, we see huge numbers of items that have been added to the wish lists, but the stores can't find the item, so they can't satisfy, the 150 people that are looking for that item. They just can't even find it. So they're like, well, sorry, 150 people, that wish list is, your wish is not granted. Effectively. So we're like, okay, well, that's not a great experience. We really want more long-term business done between members and their customers. That's one of our key metrics, is frequency of repurchase. So if you have a customer, be super useful to them. Like, yeah, now you have a friend in the game and hobby business. And we have everything, just come to our brand and you can find anything you're looking for. So you always come back, which is powerful. And certainly going to be nice to add on for other people that want to help refer sales into the network. Although we have a lot of sales that are coming in. It's just, everybody needs so much help right now that this is one way we thought we could be of use to the many people that interact with the Crystalcommerce network and all want to sell more games.
Yes, we got this in the pipeline, and it's functional, but we have some we're having a hard time right now showing all of the stores. For if you have the only show CC 5% referral stores in Product Finder, sometimes there's not that many results come up. So we're fine tuning the system there. Nothing's broken, but it's just kind of not as many options as it would be nice to have. So hopefully, like in the next week or two, we'll get that better configured.
Testing on right now?
You could go to Dweebs and Dorks front end, and maybe Magic Arsenal, I think, is working. Although it looks like, were you just in the settings for staging?
Yeah, I was. Oh,
okay. So you might want to uncheck the only show 5% referral stores. Yeah, and then I'm not sure if that takes place immediately or not. So hopefully we don't have a broken experience here on the front end. But I think maybe if you refresh, it should give us some results.
it's like we're testing the international price support, which is great.
Yeah, so for each of these, you just click on that find stores button. And there you go. And so, yeah, so this is working. This will take you, if you click on the visit button, that'll take you to that person's actual site, and then you're over there. We track the referral. We're currently testing. We've built out the process, the financial side process for charging the referrals from the referee and then crediting the referral on the weekly billing statement. We haven't had any live charges yet, so we're just testing. But so far everything's looking good. There's some intricacies with respect to, like if a charge, if a purchase gets refunded, so there's maybe, a few, there's some fine tuning to be done there, just to make sure everything is airtight. But yeah, as soon as referrals start coming in, we plan to keep a close eye on them and make sure everything goes smoothly, iron out any kinks, and yeah, it should be a pretty simple, effective system. Maybe it's worth mentioning that on the front end piece requires a certain there's like a complementary theme component that activates this front end functionality, and so you might have to get in contact with Matthew or someone on the design team if you're using certain themes, like an older theme. I'm not 100% clear on that front end part. Maybe at some point someone on the design team could address that issue if it's a significant issue.
Yeah, some of the changes and things that we did in our design, in the site code or whatever, need to be pushed out to member sites. If they were created before we did those changes, which was literally like a week ago. So yeah, that's something we're gonna have to look into, how to best accomplish.
Okay, yeah. So if you have an older theme, there might have to be a manual updating done by our design team. So you can just get in contact with us. Yeah, other than that, I think that's about it.
And I think I'm ready to take over now. So yeah, let me just share my screen real fast once Jesse's done sharing his screen. Or Dan, are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, go ahead and take over.
Okay. First of all, I gotta excuse the mess of all these tabs, but yeah, over the last few months or so, the design team has been working on pretty much just overhauling the default Crystalcommerce themes. There's currently 5 of them, and we're working on a 6th one called Exchange, which is more geared towards marketplace affiliates. In the interest of time, I can show off 2 of the themes that Matthew and I have done. The first one being a revamp of Troa with pretty much just more colors, graphics, and effects, and also having a bigger emphasis on putting products and orders in the forefront. For instance, now we have pre-orders as one of the very first things you see, so people shopping know what's hot and what's coming, and they could yeah, hopefully it'll pique their interest so they could order it.
Excuse me, are you trying to share your screen? Because I think I still see Dan's screen, or
Oh,
am I still?
Okay, yeah. You need to go down and start sharing screen, David.
am I not? It says you are sharing screen at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm seeing an admin. Okay, there we go.
So I'm gonna pause it. And now I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, try again. Okay, there we go. There we go.
I am so glad you caught that early. Yeah, I'll try to just repeat what I said very, very fast. We are revamping all of our default themes. We have 5 of them, and we're working on a 6th one. In the interest of time, I can show off 2 of them. The first one being Troa, and one of the biggest ideas behind the revamp is that we want to show off more products on the homepage at the same time, to you know, pique customer interest and garner more sales. Pre-orders now is something that we're putting a bigger emphasis on. So these are they could either be automatically generated based on what you mark as pre-orders in the inventory, or you could tag certain items with pre-orders and it will show up here. And that goes for actually the rest of all these product displays. They're all customizable, so the headings here can also be changed in the admin, and you could tag certain items based on the corresponding heading to show up here. And here is the Expo theme that's revamped with just better looking design, more graphics, and more products. And of course, all of these themes are customizable because we don't want all of our members having similar looking websites. So if you purchase a theme, it comes with a free colorization, and it could end up looking like this default theme, and it could be customized and colorized to something like this, where it went from green to black with, yeah, different fonts and like different colorizations and a different layout of the product displays. And same goes for the Expo theme. Again, different colors, a different layout, and for certain client requests, we can also add some flourishes like mini banners on top of each product displays. Yeah. And lastly, for the marketplace theme, this is the current work in progress called Exchange. And yeah, it's mainly for marketplace affiliates that want to pretty much sell items from stores that they're affiliated with. So for instance, in this product display, you can scroll between a carousel of MTG cards, but also see what stores and businesses have it in stock here. And from there, you can visit the site directly by clicking there and seeing the item where you can purchase it, where you can keep going. And
that list of stores is determined based off of the location of the person visiting.
yeah, and the location can be changed here. So for instance, if you live in Western Washington, you can change your zip code there.
A lot of people ask me, what the fuck I been at?
Yeah, somebody might want to mute their mic who's got the music.
Set it there, and then it'll show you, yeah, the nearest stores that have it in stock. So Geek Fortress in Snohomish, only 9 miles away from where I live, has this one in stock. Another feature of the Exchange theme is a latest sets section, which can be customized by the user, showing upcoming releases or sets that have just recently came out. Since this is just for demonstration purposes, clicking on this will only lead you to Magic the Gathering singles, but yeah. Oh, and lastly, yeah, the category tree on this left side is there to show.
Go to Chessex Dice. Yes, it does. It takes 5% and gives it to the person who referred you the purchase. So
Yeah.
whoever, when you opt in using Product Finder, it's like a one-time opt-in, but you opt in across an entire network of stores and affiliates who, as long as they're the ones who referred the purchase, you're giving 5% of the shopping cart to them. So, and you get the customer, you get the customer data. It's your customer. They went to your website.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a CPA, cost per action, and you're paying the affiliate 5%. You can always set your own custom prices, absolutely. So if you wanted to go mark up my stuff 5%, and in your mind you're like, everything I just had 5%, it's free. You could always do that. We just want to get more referred sales rating down and at the lowest possible. Which one's 400? Well, that one's not going to sell very well, right? Okay. So that's going to be really helpful to a lot of stores, because we want people that are local to really discover the stores around them. So this is like a store locator that is integrated into live inventory referrals engine and put into the hands of the community. There could be 10,000 fans across social media that are all talking about their favorite hobbies and linking to their collection with Product Finder enabled, and their website would be referring clicks and visitors and checkouts. And as long as you ship the item, right, that's how we know that it's safe to give a payout. So until it's shipped, you're not paying anything. So keeping it real simple. And of course, our fees are never on anything involving taxes or shipping. We only charge on the subtotal. Cool. Hey, Matt, can you show Builder a little bit? And also, is there anybody else on the call that wanted to share anything they're working on?
So I have shown, let's see, Builder, hang on. I mean, I have.
Not very many people saw that, and I think only it was shared that one time in the Facebook.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I can. Let me see if I can find something that I can show. Hold on. We are coming up on 3 o'clock here too, but let me see if I can
just make it a soft 3. I think it'll be good to. I'm just curious though. Did anybody have 5 minutes or a couple minutes?
Hold on a second here. Do I have a thing? I think I have a thing. Yes. Okay. So where is it? I think this might be what I want. Hold on. I'm almost there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think I have something I can show.
Okay.
It's, yeah. It's a 18-minute long video, but let's just play some of it and it'll give the idea. Let me share with computer sound and hang on.
What we're going to see is a glimpse into the new front end for all members. It's in a different code base and is much faster, removing a lot of some of the reasons why the front end is not as fast as we would love it to be, even though it's pretty fast now. But this will be fast here.
Oh, excuse me. I thought I was muted. Sorry about that.
And the other cool thing is that this is introducing customization and the concept of editing a promotional and product-centric e-commerce experience, which is much more involved and cool than like a Wix type like web editor that's more about the content management. So this does content management as like an addition, but primarily it's meant to be like your promotion and website personalization, like everything you would want to ever accomplish on the web for your business brand and merchandising, like virtual merchandising. That's what this engine is for. This is to be able to publish and also collaborate as a network to create cool stuff. So, all right, great. We'll stop sharing and
Yeah, I'll show it. Just to kind of piggyback off what Dan said, basically, yeah, if you just think of it simply as like you get to customize your website and build pages and change, how everything looks and like everything, basically the stuff that you normally would be sending a design request in for, essentially all of that is going to be, intuitively available to you to do simply through like a builder interface. Obviously there's going to be a lot more in the future and we're going to add features, but yeah, I'll show you the demo video. Like I said, it's like 17 plus minutes long. So I'm thinking maybe we should play like 5 to 10 minutes of it because that's still going to give you a good enough thing. And then maybe we could just repost it also, the video link or something like that.
just let it rip.
Well, okay. Yeah. If you want a full 17, that's fine. Okay with that.
Go for it.
What's that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Whoops, hang on. Some weird stuff happening on my computer. Stop it.
Yeah, if anybody needs to drop off, you're welcome to. If not, always good to see where we're at. I know we even have a couple more videos that are extensions of this, so we're gonna at some point do a more complete walkthrough.
Yeah, I do actually have several other videos that have kind of like other features, like more in-depth experiences of stuff.
Maybe we should show a few of those.
Instead of
I think many people didn't see this first one, so we should just start there.
Okay, let me just run this one. Do you know, real quick before I start, once I start sharing the screen with the sound, can I mute my microphone or will that mute everything? I'm not sure.
You should be able to mute your microphone.
Okay, I'm going to mute my mic after I start it, and then hopefully that won't like mess up the audio of the video. All right, let me share my screen here. Boop. And sound, yes. And why does it do that? That's so annoying. Okay, it's like freaking out on me right now. Okay, I'm gonna
just play it and see what happens.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Matthew in the design department at Crystal. Hold on, that's not working. Oh wait, is it going?
Hey, Matt.
Today I'm going to give you a demo. Hi, there we go. Matthew. Yeah. Okay,
Right.
we're good. We're good.
In the design department at Crystal. Hey, okay, real quick. I would like to introduce the concept that where you see the Crystalcommerce logo, I want you to think of that as a variable placeholder for your logo or someone else's logo, if that makes sense. So we have the Crystalcommerce logo in a few spots around this experience. So if you see that anywhere, you will know that's where your logo can go or someone else's logo. Great. All right.
Oh, okay. I'm going to play it. Let me do this and this. Commerce. Today I'm going to give you a demo of our upcoming website builder tool, which will allow you to quickly and easily edit and customize your Crystalcommerce site, whether it be a retail site, affiliate marketplace, or anything else we offer in the future. Although it will be developed and released in phases with additional functionality in each release, this will give you a clear idea of what we're working towards eventually. This is the site builder interface where you'll see the website that you're editing. You'll also have a sidebar with various options, and you'll have a header that has various options in it as well. Up in the header, you've got a toggle sidebar icon, which will allow you to show and hide this sidebar panel, and you'll see that later when I show you another prototype. You've also got a history option, which would allow you to revert to various saved states that you might have from editing your site and clicking the save button up here. You've got the builder settings, which would have various settings that would control the overall user experience of the site builder. Over here will be a help option that will give a drop down with various helpful resources. Here will be a preview device selection, which will allow you to choose between previewing the website as desktop, tablet, or mobile phone. You've also got the preview here, which actually takes you out of the editing mode that you'll see in a future prototype, and it will let you preview the site as if you were a visitor. Also publish, which will have options to publish immediately, as well as in the future an option to schedule the publishing to go live at a certain time and date. And then you've got save draft, which, as I mentioned before, saves the website in its current state in the history area so that you can do other edits and then come back to it, or so that you can, just exit out and not lose your work. And then of course up here you've got the exit button, which lets you get out of the builder and go back to your admin or the front end of your website. Let's take a look at a few of the different actions up in the header that you can do. One is the sidebar toggle. So when I click this, the sidebar goes away and the website preview kind of fills the entire frame. When you do click an element, it will bring the sidebar panel automatically back out, and it will take you to the element tab with those options automatically. There's a help icon up here, which will give you access to a menu with various help center and support options. This is just kind of a placeholder. There will be other things there later. Up here is a device selection, which would allow you to preview the website in different formats according to desktop, tablet, and phone. There's a preview option up here, which will allow you to temporarily get out of the editing mode and into a mode that allows you to see the website how a viewer or regular user would see it. So you've got the sidebar here in the editing window. When you click this, the sidebar goes away, and then any of those hoverable things would also disappear, so you would actually just be able to view the site as it would look to a regular user. On the side here is a contextual sidebar, which means that the different things that show in this bar are relative to what you're clicking on and what you're doing in the site builder. It starts out as having the theme tab active, which will have various global theme options and website options that you can go through, change settings, customize things, and so forth. And those will globally apply to the entire website. Also, you'll be able to search through these options, and it will filter down through all of these different options so that you can more quickly find what you're looking for. There will also be a page tab, which has a similar setup as the theme tab, where you can search through your options and you can navigate down through and drill into different settings and things like that. And that would apply to the specific page of the website that you're currently on. Over here we've got the element tab, which will be contextual to any elements in here that you click on, and again I'll show you that in a later prototype. Basically you'll be able to hover on an element, click it, and then the options for that element will show up here. Over in the sidebar, you can navigate easily into deeper levels of options by clicking them. You'll see an indication of what section you're editing right here, the actual options right here, and then you can traverse back up to where you were by clicking the back arrow. One convenient thing about this is that the sidebar and the top bar of the editing system will always stay static to the browser window, so as you scroll down your website to edit different elements, you'll always have direct access to the different actions of the builder. Let's take a look now at the interactions with various elements within the actual website that you're editing. There are a few primary elements that you can interact with within the builder. There are rows, which you can see when I hover here, and then there are elements which are inside of rows, which you can see when I hover here. Notice that when I hover on the header row and the header, there are just a few icons here. Each element will have limitations on what kind of things you can do to it. For example, a header, you cannot delete it or move it or clone it and so forth, whereas other elements you can do those things. Let's go ahead and take a look at hovering on the slider. Notice when I hover on the row for the slider, there are more options than there were on the header. I can delete this row, add things before and after and in it, which I'll show you in a minute, clone the row, move the row, and edit the options for the row. Notice now when I hover on the slider within the row, I have more options here as well. I can delete the slider, add things before and after it, duplicate the slider, move the slider within the row or into another row, adjust the width, and edit options for the slider. Let's take a look at some quick insertion point hoverable regions, which will help you quickly build your website. As you can see, when I hover here on the right side, there's an add element, so I can add an element after the slider, and then over on this side there's an add element, so I can add one before the slider. Also, between the rows, I can hover and I can add a row here, and then I can hover and add a row here, and so forth. Add a row here. If I scroll down here and we take a look at this row, there's multiple widgets in a row. So I've got each one is 1/3 width. And you'll notice if I hover here, we have the same thing, adding an element, adding an element, adding an element here, here, and then of course all the options for these widgets. Let me show you some examples now of interacting with these different options on the rows and elements. When I click this icon here to edit the options for the row, you'll notice that the contextual sidebar changes over here to have the options specific to that row. We would have these categorized by things like just general options, design, visual options, and other stuff. And there would be additional options in this menu, for example, deleting the row and so forth. This right here is the move icon for the row. If I were to click and hold and drag this up or down, the row would move up and down in relation to the other rows on the page. The limitations of this prototyping software that we're using at the moment does not allow me to actually drag and drop, but I can click this, and you'll notice when I click this icon that this row with the slider will go below this row right here. So I'll go ahead and click that now. So it would be as if I clicked and dragged this down, and then that row is now down there. Reset this back so we can take a look at the other interactions. So this is the duplicate or clone. So if I click this, I will now have another copy of that same row with the slider in it. This icon right here is a quick menu to allow you to add a row above, below, or an element inside. Let's go ahead and add a row below so you can see what that looks like. I click that, and now I have a new row, and I can just click this to add an element. Let's come back to adding an element in just a little bit, and let's take a look at the last icon when interacting with a row. This is the delete icon, which simply deletes the row. Now let's interact with an element inside of a row. Let's take a look at the slider. So again, just like the row, if I click this icon on the slider element, I will get all of the options specific to that slider. This move icon, when interacting with an element, allows you to drag that element around on the page. You can move it outside of the existing row into another row, and you can also move it around in relation to other elements within the same row. Since the slider is the only element in this row, if I were to drag this into another row, I would get the placeholder for this row here since it's now empty, and then the slider would be in the new area. So I can go ahead and click this and it will demonstrate. So let's just imagine that I had clicked and dragged the slider down here to be inside of the row with this other element. So now these are both in this row, and that original row where the slider was is now empty. So I have the add element placeholder. Now back to the starting point so we can take a look at the duplicate. When I click this, it duplicates the slider. Chances are you won't be duplicating a slider within the same row very often, but this is just to demonstrate how the interface works. Going over to this icon, if I click that, I will get the option to add a new element before the slider or after the slider. Again, we'll take a look at adding elements in a little bit. Lastly, on an element, we have the delete icon, which is self-explanatory. When I delete this, since the slider is the only element in this row, we'll get the placeholder. So that row now has a placeholder so we can add things in. We could also delete the row. Let's go a little deeper into a few interactions and give kind of an example of editing a layout here. So I've got these different widgets here, each is 1/3 width. Now if I delete this widget right here, I now have a placeholder in that spot. Let's say I also want to delete this widget right here. I now have a placeholder in the entire remaining area, and I can add things and change the width and so forth. Let's go ahead and add an element. When I click on this placeholder to add an element, we get the pop-up that allows us to select the element we want and add it in there. I'm going to jump over to another prototype real quick and show some of the interactions and different things that you can do within here. Then we'll come back to this and add a part in. Okay, here's our example. You would have the All tab, which would have every possible element that you could add into the website. Then you could also switch to a most used, which would probably be things that you have most used on your site, or it could be platform wide, the things that are most used by all of our clients. Then there would also be a products tab, which would have things like list and grid displays, carousels of products, and so forth. And then images such as banners and galleries, and so on. You'll also have the search bar across all of these tabs, and whichever tab you're in, the search bar will find things within that. So if I want to find an element and I'm not sure where it is, I can just search within the All tab. And then if I know that the item is within a certain tab here, I can go to those and either click it or do a search within that tab. Lastly, within this interface, we have a very helpful feature which allows you to hover on an element and you get a little description, information, and a screenshot or something like that, which will help you understand exactly what the elements are. If I hover on different ones, I'll get the different information. Finally, if I click one of these elements, it will insert it into the website. Let's continue our demonstration of editing widgets within the website. We have this pop-up here for adding an element, and let's just pretend that we want to add a deal of the day widget. If I click that, it adds it into the spot within the row where those other elements were that we deleted. As you'll see, the element that has been added right here, and over on the contextual sidebar, we'll have options for that element so we can customize it and edit all the things. A couple things to note is that when you insert an element, the default configuration for that element will be placed inside, and then you'll be able to edit it on the sidebar as I just mentioned. And then the other thing to point out about that is that we will be placing limitations and rules on specific widgets. So depending on what you add, there may be a minimum or maximum width, and there may be a default width that you could then change, and so forth. We're just going to go ahead and set it all up so that it's easy for you, quick, and it makes it look the best and prevents any kind of layout issues. Okay, let's do a little bit more editing. Let's say that we want the deal of the day widget to be a smaller size so that we can add another element into a third column. If I click this right here, I can just select my width. So let's say I want it 1/3. Click that. This resizes, and then I have my add element for the remaining space. So let's click that. And then let's pretend that I want to add a custom banner. So that would insert right here, and then I would be able to edit those options. Okay, and then one more example. Let's pretend that I want the deal of the day widget to be on the right and this banner to be in the center. So I can't actually drag and drop in this prototype, but let's just pretend that I clicked this move icon and dragged it over here. So when I click that, it just moves it. So it's that easy to drag and drop things. You can easily move widgets around, rows, and so forth, as I've demonstrated. Let's take a look at a few more examples of adding elements into the site. If you'll recall, when we were on the row and we clicked this, there was an option to add a row below. So let's do that. And then we have the placeholder. Let's go ahead and add an element inside of this now. So if I click this, let's pretend that I want to add an RSS feed that shows posts from my blog. If I click that, it just inserts it right in there. And again, it would show the default configuration, which I could then customize over here. And another example, let's get on this element here and click the add element, and then let's add an element after. So I am adding an element after that one, and it's in the same row. So let's just pretend that there's a text block I want to add. So I would click that, and now you'll note that these are both in the same row. So when I hover on these two elements are in that one row. And the demonstration that I just did of adding a text block below the slider within this row, essentially the same thing would happen if I clicked this add element to the right of the slider here. So it would just add it right after. So there's just kind of a couple different ways that are quick and easy depending on your workflow. Now I want to show you an example of what happens to these icons if I scroll down in a tall row. So this row has a bunch of elements, and I would scroll down to work within the row, and these icons up here will follow me down the page. So if I just scroll, they'll stay on my screen until I go outside of that row and go to something else. But the point is that you'll always have access to those when you're working in the interface. One of the key things that we want to do, just like we currently have on our platform, is we want to have different starter themes, but those starter themes will be available in the site builder so that you'll be able to pick a layout or design that you like to start with, and then you'll be able to customize it from that point. Eventually, we'll be adding more advanced and detailed customization functionality for other pages and templates on the site. So for example, you'll be able to edit the layout of a parent category, as well as what it looks like when you're browsing a category and seeing products, as well as things like the contact page and so forth. One of the most powerful and helpful things that we're eventually going to have in the site builder tool is starter templates for custom pages. So there will be different pages, for example, promotion and sale pages and things like that. And you'll be able to start with those and then customize them, or you'll also be able to build your own custom page from scratch. Being able to create custom page layouts and promotions and so forth, in addition to the future feature of being able to publish at a scheduled date and time, will be very useful for creating promotions around holidays and other events. We'll start out the builder tool with access to a limited number of widgets and features, and then gradually over time we'll add additional widgets and features and continue to enhance the user experience. Some functionality that we may be adding in the future is a library of custom elements, so you'll be able to create customized elements, customized pages, and even your entire website theme, and save those into your library. So you'll be able to swap themes back and forth, insert customized elements on different pages that you've already made, and use page templates for multiple different promotions and so forth. One of the other really great things about the Site Builder tool on our new platform will be the ability to automatically push bug fixes, updates, and new features directly to your admin and the Site Builder tool, so that you'll immediately have access to all of these things. As you can see, the Site Builder tool on our new platform is going to be extremely powerful and give you complete control over your entire site design, promotions, and other features. In addition, it'll be very intuitive, quick, and easy to make all of these changes and updates to your site, so you won't have to wait for design requests, and you'll be able to have full control at any time. Stay tuned for more updates. Yeah, so that's it for that one.
That was really awesome. That was very, very thorough.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I can't wait for this. Sounds great.
Cool. Should we call it at that point, or what do you want to do?
No, we're rolling on. People can drop, or they can. We're just going to go through the full, because we're recording. So we might as well just grab the whole.
Yeah.
We got in the can. We're going to go through it.
Yeah. Let me see what I can find here. Hold on.
There's, I believe, 3 other segments, much shorter segments that are just going into more detail. And then we'll be able to start creating more content based on the other work we've done. Yeah, it would be approximately 20 minutes of total additional content. Good estimate right there. But yeah, that's we're going to push as much control and powerful data to the edges of our network, which means to your user experience. And you're going to start to also see some convergence between some of our back office features and your traditional admin user experience. Those actually live in the same single sign-in network now, and it's only permissions that prevent access to different areas, such as like the master catalog. And when we were showing that earlier, that master catalog allows for collaboration around each of the products. So let's say somebody added barcode, they scanned it in, they scanned it in, and it was unrecognized at the point of sale, and then that associated it with the catalog that they looked up. We had the item. Now everybody in the network has the barcode. So it's really a good way to distribute that power into the hands of who we would consider the subject matter experts. So that'll be great. Okay, go right ahead.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this next one, and then yeah, I think there's a couple more shorter ones. So let's run it. in the design department at Crystal Commerce. Welcome to the demo video for the Crystal Commerce website builder tool. Today I'm going to be demonstrating a real-world example of editing and customizing a widget within the site design. I'll quickly review the main interface before we get started on the widget in case you missed it from the previous demonstration. Across the top you have your global toolbar with various options. There's the toggle sidebar, history, site builder settings, help, device preview selection, preview switch, publish, save draft, and exit. There's drop downs for these that have different options in them, and that was covered in the previous demonstration where I described all of these and what they do. And then you have the contextual sidebar, which has different tabs for different things within the builder that you would be doing, such as theme settings that are global, settings that are specific to the page you're on, and then element settings, which are specific to the element or widget that you're interacting with. The sidebar and the top bar are both static, so as you scroll within the website up and down, you always have access to these regardless of where you are. So let's say I'm editing this widget here, I would still have access to all these global options. You can click on these tabs up here and the contextual sidebar information here will change according to the theme, the page, and the element. So if I click page, then the search changes and these options would change as well. And then if we go over to the element, we have a little thing here that tells us we need to hover over here and click on an edit icon on something to select an element and then customize it. Let's go ahead and actually add a new row though. So let's hover in between these rows and there's an add row thing. So if I click that, then I get a row right here, a placeholder, and on the sidebar you can see that these things right here would update so that you would have the options that are available for a row. So you could then customize the row. In this case, we want to go here in the placeholder for this row, and we want to add an element. So I'll click that, and then we get the select element pop up, and in this case, we know we want to add an RSS feed. I'm going to click this in just a moment, but I want you to pay attention to a couple things that are going to happen. First, when I click this, in this placeholder row that we had, an RSS part is going to be added, and it's going to be a default configuration with placeholder information. And then you're also going to notice that on the contextual sidebar over here, the RSS widget information and settings and things will then appear in the sidebar. So let's go ahead and click that, and then you'll see those two changes take effect. So as you can see, there's the RSS feed default configuration with a placeholder for everything, and then you have your RSS feed title right here, additional options, you can search options within the part, and then you have all of your options here. And as you can see within the sidebar, I can scroll up and down over here, and I can go through all of the options that are available on the sidebar for the RSS feed part. Now all of these options will be different depending on each different type of widget or thing that you're interacting with. In this case, these are the RSS feed settings. Let's just take an example of a dropdown. So if I click this, then I would have these options for choosing the widget width. And as you saw in the previous demo video, there was also an option to be hovering on the widget, and there was a little thing that would pop up, and then you could select the width within the interface here. But this is just another way to do it if you're interacting with it on the sidebar. Many of the options for the widgets will also have tooltips that would help you understand what you're interacting with. So if I click this little icon here, it pops down with some helpful information and then possibly a link to a Help Center article or something like that. Let's go ahead and close that back up. Let's get the RSS feed showing real posts from our blog. Let's go over here, and the RSS feed URL field, we will type in our URL that goes to the path of the RSS feed on our blog. And again, if you didn't know what that was, you could use the help text here. So I'm going to click in here and pretend like I actually typed it, and you'll notice over here that these will update. So I just typed that in, and all of the blog posts right here updated to real information from the blog. One thing to note is that in this prototype, the RSS feed information updated immediately when I typed in the RSS feed URL in the sidebar. But in reality, when you're really using the site builder tool and interacting with things in real time, it will most likely take several seconds or more for the site builder tool to go grab the RSS feed information and populate it into the widget. Let's pretend that instead of the latest post's default title, I want it to say Game and Hobby News. So I would come down here, and where the heading title is that says latest post, I could click in here and type a new title. So I typed Game and Hobby News here, and then Game and Hobby News appears up here as I'm typing instantly. The view all posts over here, I want to change that to say all news. So I would just come down here to the view all link, and I would go to the link text field and I could type in here all news. So I just did that, and then this updates as well. Let's continue making customizations to our RSS feed. Let's say that we don't want the author's name to show right here. I can just come down to the option where it says show author, and I can uncheck that, and the author's names go away. Now, I don't want the date format to be written out like this. I want it to be in numerical format. So I can just go to where it says date format, and I can click this, and then I can select a different format that would be available here, and you'll notice that this will then update to the new format. Now, for my website design, I want it to be a little bit more minimalist, and I don't want the RSS feed to take up as much space. So in this case, I'm going to also remove the excerpt right here from each post. So I can just go right here where it says show excerpt, and I'm going to uncheck that, and that will go away. But also notice that there's an excerpt length field right here, which is associated with the show excerpt. So when I uncheck this, not only is the excerpt going to go away, but also notice that this associated field will disappear. So I'm just going to uncheck that. So that field goes away because we're not even showing the excerpt, so it's irrelevant. And then also the excerpt goes away from the posts. All right, let's do one more customization, and this is where it gets really cool. Let's say after we do this, we decide, you know what, I want this RSS feed to be in a different layout. I want it to be a list format that goes vertically so that I can put some other widgets to the side of it. I can just go to this layout field right here, and I can click that, and then I can select list. And this layout updates to be the list view, and then you get the placeholder here to add things in. What we'll probably do is have default settings for different widgets and different layouts. So for example, when you set this to a list view, we might have a default width set of perhaps 50% or 1/3 of width or something like that. And it will change that, but then you can customize it. So if we go to the sidebar and scroll up in our RSS feed options, you'll notice that the widget width was automatically set to the default, and then we could go ahead and change that. Of course, there's many other options here that we didn't look at, and there's a lot of other features in the site builder, but this demonstration should give you a very clear picture and a feeling of what it would be like to interact with the builder and customize things. Okay, let me get up the next video here. Let's see. Hello, Matthew here from the design department at Crystalcommerce. Going to show you a demo today of the Crystalcommerce website builder's publish functionality. Let's imagine that we've made some edits to our website and we're ready to publish. We can just go up here and click publish, and then we're going to get a dialog which gives us two options. One is that you can publish it immediately, and then the other is that you can schedule the publishing to go live at a later time. Obviously, the functionality of being able to schedule the publishing for a later date and time is going to be really helpful if you're running some kind of promotion for either a holiday or a sale or something else like that. First option is pretty self-explanatory. If you just click publish now, it's going to start to do that. And now you have a timer in which to undo that. So if I click undo before that timer runs out, then I'm back where I was and I don't have to worry about it. That's good if you accidentally click it or realize that you forgot something or whatever. So there's that feature, and now let's take a look at the scheduling. We'll just click schedule. Notice that you can easily go back if you accidentally click that or decided to do something else, so we can just get back here. The other thing is when you get here, you can schedule it out with a date and time zone. So if I click here, I can choose the month and date and all that good stuff, as well as a time. And in these, you can also click and actually type in there. So you could do it at 5:03 or whatever. The point is that you have some control there, but it's in 15-minute increments for convenience. And then, of course, time zone. And then we have a feature that allows you to have an email sent to you when the website goes live at that predetermined time. So that'll by default have the email that's set on your user account, but you can just click that X and type a different email if you'd like. And if you don't want to get an email, you can just uncheck that. So let's go ahead and click schedule now. After clicking schedule, we get the confirmation screen here that has the check mark and a summary of the date and time and all that good stuff. Now, if we want to go back and edit that or remove the scheduling, we just click edit schedule. We can edit all that, or we can click unschedule, which takes us back here to start over, and then we can X out or do whatever we want. So let's go back, schedule that. Now we can either exit to our admin, view the live website, or continue editing. We might want to continue editing if we realize that we forgot something, or if we decided that we wanted to put the previous changes to a scheduled time and then want to go back and experiment with some other possible changes, which we could then add to that scheduling Let's go ahead and click continue editing so you can see what the interface looks like after you've scheduled something. So I'll click here, and then note that now up here you have a green indicator that says scheduled and has a little icon. So if I want to change the scheduling, all I have to do is click that and I'm back to this menu where I can then edit or do whatever I need to do. So it's very easy to get back to that and make modifications. Let's say we want to make some changes now after we have scheduled it. If I click this, you'll note that this button's going to change. So when I click that, this changes color to indicate that there is a change, and those are unsaved changes which will not go live at the scheduled time, so we have to apply those changes to the scheduled time. So if I just click up here, it now warns me you have unsaved changes that won't be published. There will be a little help menu here or a little help icon with text, and now if I just click Save Changes, it's going to apply the changes I just made, and they will be published at the same time that we had scheduled previously. Now if we continue editing again, this changes back to green because our changes have been saved. So it's very easy to go back, make some changes to the design, and then apply those so that they go live with the other stuff that you made changes on. Let's go back to where we have scheduled some changes and then we have made a change to the site, so we have unsaved changes. Let's pretend that we're going to try and exit out of here without saving those changes. We'll just click this and exit. And then you'll note that it gives a little warning message that you have changes scheduled to be published, but you also have unsaved changes. And then there will be some help text right here. Basically, you can discard those changes and exit, or you can continue editing, or you can save and exit. So saving and exiting would save all of your recent changes and apply that to the scheduled changes so that they'll all go live in the future. But discarding would get rid of just the latest ones, but it will keep the stuff that you have already scheduled in place, so you won't lose the stuff that you edited prior to making your other changes. Also, when I click discard changes and exit, it gives me a little bit of time to undo that, so just like before when I published, I can just hit undo if I didn't mean to click that. Now let's say that we've made some changes, but we haven't scheduled them, and we're going to try and exit without saving. We're going to get basically the same experience as we saw before. You have unsaved changes, and then you can either keep your changes and they'll be saved as a draft so that you can work on them later. So you would click save and exit, and then of course discard your changes or take no action and go back. All right, one more. Matthew here from the design department at Crystalcommerce. Today we're going to do another demo of the website builder tool. This time we're going to take a look at Save Draft and the revision history feature. First, let's take a look at the revision history. As you can see, we've got some different states here that were saved, and those would be from when you click Save Draft. It would add a history state here automatically, and as you can see, it has the date and time. It's possible that there may be a limit to the number of history states that can be saved at one time. In this demo, we're just using 20 as an example, and it'll show you how much percentage is full of your history available space. Now let's take a look at previewing a history state. If I just hover on this and click it, you'll see that I'm given a notification that I have unsaved changes because I was doing some work here and then I tried to go to a history state. If I had saved my draft just before going to the history here, then we wouldn't get this message. This is just because I have unsaved changes. So it explains that, and there's a little tooltip there, and then we can discard, continue, or save as draft. So I'm going to save as draft, and you'll see that it tells me that it has saved the draft right there, and then we also get a bar up here that indicates that we're in the preview mode and gives us various options. One thing to note is that when you're previewing a history state, you cannot publish or save drafts, so those are grayed out. Clearly we can see that we're previewing the website, and the history state 3 is the one we're viewing, and it has the date and time that that was saved. Also, we have options to delete this history state, rename it, or restore it so that our current design would then go back to this state right here, or we can just exit out of this preview and go back to what we were doing. Let's go through an example of each of these different actions. If I click delete, I get a confirmation to make sure that I want to delete this state right here. I can just go ahead and click delete, and it will tell me that it was deleted, and then that message will go away right there. Going back to where we were, there's also an option to undo, which will be the case for many of the actions. So if I delete, I can click undo, and it tells me that it was undone. And you can click that within a certain period of time, most likely about 5 seconds or so, before that message goes away, and then you can't undo. Let's take a look at renaming a history state. I can just click that. It tells me the default name here. If I type in there. I can type whatever I want, and then I can just save it. And then it tells me that it was renamed and has the undo as well. And also that new title is now showing up in the preview bar here. Let's look at the last action, which is restore. So if I click that, I have the option to restore that history state. It just asks for confirmation. I can click restore, and then it restores the design and tells me that it did that. Let's take a look at some interactions involving saving a draft and how all of that history and saving works together. Let's imagine that I've been doing a bunch of work on the site and I've saved a whole bunch of drafts and I'm getting somewhere near the limit of the number of history revisions that I can save. Let's save a draft here, and it tells me it saved it as, for example, 17 drafts out of the 20. Note that I get a little tooltip pop up and a little indicator dot on the history thing that tells me that I need to keep an eye on the revision history status, because there is a maximum of 20, and then after that point, when I save another draft after the 20, it will delete the oldest history state so that there's room in that, so that you always are at the 20 limit. We'll just click out of there, and then let's say that we're now at the limit and we try and save another draft. We get a little warning here, and it just explains once again that you've reached those 20 states, which is the max, and then the oldest ones will be deleted every time you save another. And then also it just tells you, you can delete the unwanted states to free up space, so you can go back and delete specific old ones that you don't want anymore, so that you control what is stored in your history. And then you can also just say, don't show me that warning again if you don't want to see that in the future. And then you can just say got it, and then it saves that next history state, just as we click save draft, got the warning, said okay, and then it saved it just like we wanted to. As you can see, it'll be very easy to save drafts as you work on your site and then access those in the revision history area, which will allow you to revert back to previous states of your website if needed. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the site builder demos so far.
I mean, if I was a customer, I would like to be able to have my history saved. That'd be great.
Cool. Does anyone else have anything to say in the meeting or closing remarks? Dan, you there?
I'll give Stanley the closing remarks.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I thought everyone's presentations were great, and looking forward to those releases in the future.
Fantastic. Yes. And many are in the development production environment right now. So that's cool. Anybody else have any thoughts? I know Tilly, you do not have a mic or something like that. He says it looks good. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, cool. All right, well, thanks everyone. We'll keep these rolling. We're gonna have every Wednesday at 2 Pacific, we have a presentation day where we're reviewing our roadmap. It's a bit of a design retrospective. We're getting feedback, and ultimately, if something's going to go live, we'll have it available. We'll have kind of like what we did around this experience, where we shared how this was going to work. I think that was great, making improvements on the fly. And then as we add more capability, we'll be able to have it be more collaborative. So the idea is that as we're designing, we have a specific user story in mind. We're solving problems in a scalable way, but we're also having fun, and we're involving all of our friends in the fun. And then getting good feedback, moving into design development, and ultimately then we get to use these useful tools.
I had something else to say real quick. I was going to mention that just bringing up again, we talked about it last week, is that if any of you guys have any ideas or requests or features or what have you for our platform, that there is a members idea portal where you can go in and put those ideas in, and then that helps us keep track of them. And then you'll be able to see, get updates on those and everything. So just use the members ideas portal there. We can put a little bit of info or a link to that along with this post where we're sharing this. And
Jump over there and share screen.
do you want to, can you do that? Do you have a link to it directly, like right now?
I do. Yeah.
Cool. I'll let you. And yeah, and then while you're doing that, I was going to mention as well that these meetings every Wednesday, usually we're going to go through some of those ideas that were added into the portal from you guys, from the members, and talk about those. So that's kind of like becomes part of this meeting, is reviewing those ideas, which we didn't do this time, but maybe we could even alternate or something, like do that one week and then the next week do presentations or who knows what. But anyway, bringing that up.
It is.
Actually, I think I got it if you want me to. Oh, you got it. Okay, cool.
If I don't have an account, I just sign right up. So this is a little different just because it also has some employee ideas. But these are going to be also merged together. There's not supposed to be really a separate set of ideas. Yeah, we have them broken out as whether they're planned, shipped, if there's something that's not going to get implemented, either for a variety of reasons, or maybe it's being done in a different way. Our catalog, backlog, point of sale, new product development, strategic infrastructure, bug fixes, feature requests, quality of life wins, any bugs or things that have been documented. And yeah, we have a lot of we have feedback coming in, related ideas. You can see kind of like what the user story is in terms of where in this application, where in all of Crystalcommerce is this person having their interaction, and what could be a better experience. This has 49 votes, right? So that's a lot of fantastic feedback. So obviously it floats to the top. And or it evolves as it floats to the top, right? So that's great. And you can also follow. So I'm like now following this, so I can really kind of just be involved in what's going on. I'm like, because I want the new point of sale, the in-person experience. I really want it to be so much better than, what is currently in version 3. And that also involves networked inventory, meaning in person in my physical store, I have everything in stock that's in the network. So I can always satisfy all of my customers' demand without them having to leave my store empty-handed. Or at least if it's empty, it's virtually delivered, right? So they could be leaving empty-handed, but they've made a purchase and there are many packages that are inbound to whatever destination that they chose. So that's a powerful experience, especially if you're earning a commission on every referred sale that's just being drop shipped from your friendly neighborhood game and hobby store. So hopefully, yeah, this is already getting a lot of engagement. We're really having a lot of good experiences here. You can make a new idea. You can choose what area this kind of idea is for. And, you could have, the idea of your sentence summary of the idea and kind of any details of why it would be useful. And then you just share the idea. And this could be using benchmarking to see what are other people doing that's very successful, that if it was done for me and my business, or for my friends who have businesses, or for the fan to have a better experience interacting with the experience, different points of view, right? Crystal Commerce is multifaceted. We have a lot of different folks who use us for a variety of different goals. Some people use us for different goals just throughout the day, bouncing around to all kinds of different things. So hopefully that gives a bit more of an overview of what the intent here is and how this works. These ideas get promoted into our product development process, and we'll have some more next week that gives you a glimpse into that, so you can see the process of things as it progresses from an idea into a fully transparent process of delivery. So that'll be fun. And with that, I will wrap up. Thanks everybody for your time. We went a little long, but we'll have awesome. I will see you guys on next week.